I do have some interesting little tidbits that I can kind of add to what like I've heard about the failure of the VTT that hasn't really been public, at least as far as my knowledge goes. So this is just, it's like word around the campfire kind of okay, so this might not be totally true. As an alpha playtester, you can't believe they scrapped it. This is the thing, right? Did they scrap it? Or did they scrap it? Is it scrapped? Like, here's, okay, I'm kind of trying to figure this out too, because it seems like people are a little bit kind of caught off guard with that. It started here over on LinkedIn from Andy Collins, and then Rascal basically confirmed everything from a leak. The Rascal article is pretty raw. Yeah, I want to see what else is going on, because I also think that I have something else to add to this that I've heard of. Today, approximately 30 talented developers, 90% of the team was laid off from Sigil, the virtual tabletop team at Wizards of the Coast, including yours truly. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to continue working toward the full experience that we imagined, but happy for the opportunity to work. Oh, I did that stupid thing where like my brain reads a line ahead, and I don't. Anyways, opportunity to work on an intriguing challenge with many smart and dedicated folks. I wish my former colleagues success in their future endeavors. I'll be pulling the crew left behind to do the best to keep improving and iterating on what we shipped last month. Okay, iterating the experience we shipped last month. Didn't they spend like $2 billion on this? I think this is going to depend on what you think, like where you think the money that got put into this, if that does or does not factor into this. If you consider the purchase, like the acquisition of D&D Beyond, as a part of this plan right here, and you want to factor that in, maybe, maybe not, right? In that case, I would look at that as an investment that they had originally put toward making this VTT happen, right? I don't know. I don't know that it's a bill, but that's the figure I've kind of heard thrown around. If that's the case, I think this might be one of the most expensive flops in gaming history. Like, I have no fucking clue, man. It always sucks whenever people are losing money. When it's a corpo losing money, it's kind of like whatever, but I do hate the fact that the axe is going to fall on the necks of a bunch of like developers and not the dipshit C-suites like Chris Cox, who absolutely deserve to have their ass out on the streets. So, you know, fuck that guy. Going on from there, okay? Over here, this is the Rascal article. Wizards of the Coast shutters Sigil virtual tabletop project, lays off 30 staff. I asked Linda a little bit about this, and it seems as though this is actually an indication that the project is not developing anything beyond what they already have out, which is fucking bonkers, especially considering what I've heard. Right here in this, what we're essentially getting right up front is that Sigil virtual tabletop, yada yada yada, they sent out an email where they laid off 30 people, and a former WotC employee actually leaked the email out to Rascal over here, right? Over here, this is talking about the LinkedIn post that we just read over there, right? It's kind of scrolling up over here. This is the email that they were sent. Dear team, I want to share an important update regarding Sigil. After several months of alpha testing, we concluded that our aspirations for Sigil as a larger standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort, and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week. We are, oh, and I'm pretty sure that's Sigil, but I don't know, man. I don't have an excuse there. We are, however, proud of what I'm just going to keep saying it wrong to piss off people in chat for the engagement, you know? We are, however, proud of what the Sigil team has developed and want to make sure that fans and players on D&D Beyond can use it. To that end, we will transition Sigil from a D&D Beyond to a D&D Beyond feature, so it won't be its own standalone proprietary software, which is interesting. Well, I mean, it still could be, I guess. It's still, yeah. It's interesting that this is going to be running in a browser. We all kind of knew from the get-go that this is going to be something that they wanted to turn into recurring microtransactions. We said it from day one. They're going to, like, you know, nickel and dime you for animated spells, right? For different, like, miniatures, things like that, you know. You're pronouncing it right? Oh, thanks, Chris Gordon. We knew that, like, this was going to have a microtransaction structure. Now, as far as microtransactions go, look, I'm just kind of like, if you do it, you do it. I have fun in games where, like, I get a cosmetic and I feel like, hey, you know what? I paid for a cosmetic that doesn't have an effect on the game. Can you explain what Sigil is? You're kind of out of D&D news. Okay, Sigil, whatever it is, this was a virtual tabletop that they were developing as a proprietary thing for Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, this was only going to run D&D. We asked, like, whenever I was at the Influencer Summit thing, like 2 years ago or whatever, one of my questions I asked Kyle Brink specifically was, how do you expect this to compete with Roll20 and Foundry and all the other VTTs that are out there right now that are running multiple different game systems, and you all can only offer one? And they, like, couldn't fucking answer. And they were like, well, so it always kind of seemed dead in the water to me. Like, dead in the water? Wait, that's not right. Shot? No. What the fuck? What? There's a euphemism there, or an idiom I'm thinking of. It's just not dead on arrival. Maybe it's dead on arrival. Maybe that's it. Let's actually zoom up on that, because I'm a bad streamer and I'm not considering nobody can actually read that shit. Yeah, is it dead on the water? I don't know. Fucking people in glass houses sink ships and shit. All right. So this was supposed to be a 3D environment. Here, there's actually fish on the bayou. This will probably show it right here, I'm sure.
I saved you, and I'm here to save you again.
So many of us played Baldur's Gate 3.
What in the sweet hells were you thinking?
This is the opportunity for people to continue their adventures in this new way to play D&D.
We have this 3D sandbox where you can bring your friends and play D&D with all of these cool 3D environment pieces and miniatures that come with the product. You can start experiencing a role-playing game, but in a more digital-friendly format.
You go take those characters, Asterion and Karlak, you get to play with them and just tell your own tale.
Where people who may be used to video games actually get to see the thing that you're talking about instead of just trying to imagine it.
And it's not...
Actually, that was the guy I remember from the Influencer Summit who was talking to all of us about the VTT. This is supposed to be a VTT that gives you the 3D environment and essentially allows you to get a Baldur's Gate-like experience with your own stories. Here's the deal. Not a lot of people were really asking for this. This kind of further goes into the idea that, like, this is probably only going to be useful for combat. I guess now that the project is essentially getting canned, I could kind of talk about some of the things that I've heard about this. I heard that they were having a lot of problems getting the VTT to run out of anything that wasn't, like, out of the developer architecture, okay? So, like, in the software for Unreal or whatever they're developing in, I heard that they were having an extremely hard time optimizing it to run outside of the Unreal environment, and that in ways they were trying to, like, keep that in control was that the demos were all kind of like going into a LAN or something, and there was, like, a main, like, really hardcore computer that was actually doing all the graphic rendering for all these other PCs or something like that. Don't know for sure. I didn't actually get to see the way that they had it set up for Gen Con last year. Wasn't able to go. But I've been hearing that because from day one, whenever we saw that they were playtesting this, or that they were kind of showing it off in trailers, remember that first trailer where it was like Mackenzie Diarmas and a couple other people that were, like, playing on laptops? Those of you that have been around for a second, do you remember whenever we went on stream and looked at what exactly those laptops were that they were playing that on, and we found out that they were like $5,000, $6,000 Alienwares? My understanding is they were having a horrible fucking time making it to where Sigil just didn't absolutely fucking eat up all your memory on your PC. That this was horribly optimized, and it was just, they had no projections as to when this project was ever going to end, right? Yeah, it was really graphic intensive. Yeah. For the standard player, okay, I'm sure if I actually got a hold of the software, I could run it on my rig, okay? But I built this rig right here to do streaming, to do video editing, to do a lot of layout work, right? Like, I'm a graphic designer. I built this for that. I also built it as a music studio. That was required, right? Now, I might be able to run it. However, Joe Schmo with the, like, $1,000 laptop he's going, doing college work with, this is not really practical. Those are insane computer requirements for a type of game that is so famously really easy to jump into. Yeah, right? Your laptop struggles with OBS. There's no way I would have managed to run anything like... Yeah, you're being a lot less cautious about the information you have on the situation. My thing is, a lot of it is like, I don't know what's campfire talk. I know that there's a lot of people who are very, very pissed at Wizards of the Coast right now, especially after having just gotten like laid off or something like that. Most likely they're down to like spread some word about like how bad this is, whatever. I would just say this. Most of the stuff that I hear, just consider it campfire talk, all right? Bunch of people like venting about the industry or whatever, okay? Until you see something like published by Rascal or like maybe EN World, take it as that, okay? Take it as this is just what we're hearing, okay? Not confirmed or anything like that. This VTT, from day one, that I was just seeing like, oh wait, you have a 5K liquid cooling Alienware. Even she has asthma breakdown when you run Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Like with Baldur's Gate 3, the only assets they really have to load in at any one time are going to be whatever is set up for that environment in the scene, right? Whatever the draw distance is or whatever. Sigil, then you don't really get that luxury, okay? The environment that's there that you are building and setting up, if you want to build out an entire dungeon, okay. If you are, let's say somebody is 10 rooms back, like their body is 10 rooms back or something like that. Well, it's still rendering for that person, or maybe they're casting like Arcane Eye, or maybe they're sending their familiar, right? Well, if they're going to be like, we're going to stay in this room over here, I'm sending my familiar out like further off into the dungeon to go and do this, right? As a result, you still have to have the characters over here, and then this familiar whatever is going out, spying out over here. So if you're having to render all this stuff at the same time, it's different with a video game because you can do the magician's sleight of hand and keep some stuff like off screen. You don't have to render it or what the hell ever, right? It doesn't seem like it's going to always have that luxury over here. It's really easy over in like Roll20 because it's all 2D, you know, or isometric now, which is super cool. But I've even noticed that Roll20 can chug. A lot of this has to do with like map sizes, tokens, all that other stuff. I have noticed whenever I was running like Tomb of Annihilation, for whatever reason, that module lags on any computer that I run, which is sad because like Tomb of Annihilation actually kind of slaps, you know. We all kind of knew from like seeing it, right? We knew from seeing the demos of like people playing it on Alienwares. We kept asking, like, guys, I'm not kidding you. We asked at the summit, what are the recommended specs for the VTT? And they could not give us an answer. And it was like, okay, well, look, we understand it's in development, so we'll give you some slack. Gen Con 2024, I think it was this last year. I knew that I had a couple of friends that were going to be talking with some Wizards of the Coast employees. Your boy is apparently blacklisted from talking to Wizards of the Coast. So I fill in your I don't know, let your imaginations work there. One of the questions I was very, very adamant on, I was like, this is the most important thing that you can ask Wizards of the Coast right now about this VTT. What are the system requirements? If you all still do not have that established and you're still making announcements for this game, y'all got to stop. Y'all got to figure out what the fuck it's going to take to run this thing. Time and time again, it seemed like they were just never going to be able to get this thing out because they couldn't figure out what the fuck they wanted to run it on. It was just like, well, people are going to have these. This is kind of like a you all have phones, right moment. Do you all really expect that everybody's going to be able to run this on, or like everybody's going to be able to afford the Alienware laptops that you guys were apparently running this on? It didn't help that that in-house they don't exactly have a track record of creating successful VTTs. We've done this before with 4th edition. Yeah. You never saw the game running on the laptops themselves. It was shots from a screen that you thought was one of the laptops. You never saw an over-the-shoulder shots of it running. You've got me like, we're going on a little tinfoil hat rabbit hole here, okay? Yes, okay. It was a virtual tabletop first look.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
This is amazing.
You guys ready to play some D&D?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So we've got 4 really cool characters here. Is anyone thinking about anything specifically as you're looking at these?
I'm thinking Dorban. I like his beard and I want to be a bearded man.
They covered up the Alienware logo with the fucking D&D stickers.
And today.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All right, so you can...
I'm not familiar with these laptops. I don't know what else going in. I was kind of looking for like maybe an HDMI plugged in or something like that.
Are you having fun dragging them around?
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
I've actually had the sorcerer I've been wanting
No, that's just a power
to
cable
play
right there on the left.
forever. Is there a way I can just port it in?
Yeah, is it on D&D Beyond?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. There we go, all linked up and ready to go.
Woo, huzzah!
There's a lot of ways to play D&D online.
Wait, they just showed the same screen on 3 of their, right? So like, is this the same? Or wait, I thought it was one of these. Like really familiar.
Is there a way I can just
Purple,
port it in?
teal?
Yeah, is it on D&D
Okay, no,
Beyond?
that's
Okay, sweet. There we go.
it is a
All
different
linked
view.
up and
Okay.
ready to go.
Woo, huzzah!
There's a lot of ways.
Are we doing conspiracy theories? I mean, look, dude, like we're already deep in this rabbit hole. Wizards of the Coast ain't fucking talking to anybody apparently, and some bullshit's dropping out about a multi-million-dollar project that is apparently getting completely fucking overturned tabled, right? Like I'm like wondering what the fuck is going on. That's basically the whole reason I hopped on screen, dude. Still shots on laptop screens. They may or may not be a tinfoil hat under your pointy hat. Oh, okay.
To play D&D online,
It's how they
and
laundered the
not
patrons
all
of
of
money.
them are hitting the big 3.
Can you mention the name of the company, Taron? AJ, if you're feeling confident about that, absolutely. I heard about that from you. So that's okay. This is hardwired in. What is that?
Warm. I was standing real close to the fireplace. You have good wood.
Everybody make a dex save.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's under your dexterity. It'll be the top up there. It'll be dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, solid 9.
So now you roll 2 dice.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Well, let's see how cool it is after you roll.
We're in Unreal 5, which is latest, greatest. But now we're actually testing with friends of people who work at Wizards and their families. It's got spells, it's got effects, it's got a lot more rules in it. So those sort of things are what we've been adding.
I will go over to.
Okay, so look up Resolution Games and their Demio game engine. It will make perfect sense for what Hasbro is intending to do. This does look crazy close. I don't know. It does feel like this is pretty close to just like maybe a tabletop simulator type of thing.
Compelled by fate, he summoned the old fellowship.
Alright, boys, what's the plan of attack here?
We gotta get the key and then we gotta go to the exit.
Alright, I'm gonna try to take out this little spider looking thing.
Guys, this doesn't just look like Sigil. This looks better. Because you'll see the miniatures are animated.
Hey, John, take him out!
Where are we going? We going
Look
here?
at that.
Ooh, a chest.
You see how like the minis that were in the D&D VTT were just kind of like, I cast a spell. These guys actually have like animated sword attacks.
Oh, we got a card. Ooh, nice.
The environments look better in Sigil. And I guess it all depends on your kind of thought on that, right? Me personally, I prefer a bit more of the cartoony aesthetic. Like, if you want the very, very hyper-realistic looking environments and everything, sure, maybe that's the case, right? But like, honestly, if Sigil's just not even going to fucking work, doesn't even really matter. This is going to be your only your offer, right? Animation rigs are expensive, Taron. Hasbro doesn't have that kind of cash. Oh, that's good shit. Small indie company couldn't afford the animations.
Save you?
A card. You got a card?
Okay, hang on, I got this.
This looks sick. Tailspire does the thingy too when it's system neutral, just animations and dice. I like Tailspire. It seems like they're incredibly slow to update it. Yeah, I own it. I own it. It's cool. It seems so fucking slow to update. All right. AJ said, so I got an email from Resolution Games with the usual first look gag order until we announce the partnership deal. And I said, no, if you want me to promote the game, you can pay me. I never expected that they would lay off the Sigil staff. So your thoughts leading into all of that and how it pertains to Demio. Anytime I have someone dropping info in chat, I'm always like, okay, well, how do I pass the time until we hear this next bit of like tantalizing shit, right? You can talk about how stupid the NDA was for testers on Sigil. I haven't seen that stuff. I am currently, like, just so you guys know, my brain has been so preoccupied with the Vagabond Kickstarter, which, like, hey, we're a little bit over $2,000 away from completely knocking out any of the worries that we had about tariffs, and we get a full run of 1,000 books instead of 500. I'm actually getting the dice in on Friday. I found out, like, I got the notification on my phone. I've got 500 sets of fucking dice showing up on my doorstep on Friday. So, Go over, help me not completely fucking lose money on making this shit. You have your own RPG to produce. You're not a D&D drama channel, but this is fairly obviously Hasbro's plan all along. Sigil was a smokescreen. Okay, so here's my thing, right? I've never really considered what, like, talking about what Hasbro's doing to be drama, right? I think that that's a way that some people try to, like, embarrass you into not talking about scandal is what's going on. This was announced to be something massive. Like, this was going to be the thing they were going all in on. We thought that they had literally redesigned 5th edition in order to make it easier for VTT, apparently. And now look at where we are, right? They went all in on this thing. And now it appears to be they have fumbled the most massive fucking ball, maybe in gaming history. We'll see what happens with it. If it's like a proprietary tool or whatever. Look, here's my deal. I feel horrible for the employees at Wizards of the Coast because I don't think there was much shit they could have done about this. I think that a lot of this sounds like it was C-suite overlords trying to pressure them into making a thing faster. Here, what I would recommend right now, if you're a shareholder of Hasbro stock, are you cool with this company pissing away money like that? Are you down with this? Like, because if you're a shareholder, this is something that they clearly invested a shitload of cash into and does not look like it's about to turn any fucking profit. I'm still kind of catching up on this, but let's get back over here real quick. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort, and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week. We are, however, proud of what the Sigil team has developed and want to make sure that fans and players on D&D Beyond can use it. To that end, we will transition Sigil to a D&D Beyond feature. We will maintain a small team to sustain Sigil and release products already developed at no additional cost to users, other than to pay the master tier thing, right? Release products already developed at no additional cost to users? So master tier is going to get this environment designer, basically, is what they're getting, right? Big difference between actual news and other stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, here's the deal. Whenever we say that some stuff is like Dungeons and Dragons drama, if it's like, look, this influencer over here went and I don't know, posted a picture with a really ugly dog and you're really mad at them for that. I'm like, look, that's stupid. If I was like beefing with Sam Riegel on Blue Sky and someone was making content like that, like some Blowblacks or whatever fucking drama stream thing, look, that's stupid drama, okay? This is scandal. This is a bit more above high school bullshit here. This is 30 people just lost their fucking jobs, and there was a multi-million-dollar project that is just like, who fucking knows, dude? Like, they've been hyping this up for like, what, 3 or 4 years now, okay? Like, this is not drama. This is industry shaking, okay? So us talking about it, if you're mad because, you know, I'm out here kind of laughing at the fact that, like, the big monopoly on the whole tabletop hobby is kind of in its death throes right now. If you're mad at that because you really like Dungeons and Dragons, you should probably go watch a different fucking channel, alright? I'm not here to hate on D&D. I loved playing D&D. I still make a shitload of my money from D&D, okay? I prefer to play and, like, run other shit. In fact, I'm actually playing in a game of Dungeons & Dragons 2024 here in a couple days, okay, with some YouTubers. I would rather it not be the only game that seems to draw anyone into an interest into this hobby, because there's a lot of other really fucking cool games out there. Yeah, I love D&D. Hasbro's not D&D. Yeah, there we go, right? Yeah, it's me, Nagobi, Val, and a couple other peeps. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much there, but yeah. For me, I definitely have my preference for other games, right? If D&D was in a cool spot, I would be playing some D&D. Not really enjoying it. I would love for I really, really love whenever this hobby feels really cool, and I'm excited to make shit for it. Wizards of the Coast has made this hobby not feel very fun for a minute. I'm going to say this, not Wizards of the Coast. Let me go further here. Hasbro has made writing for D&D or talking about D&D feel like a fucking headache and a half. You love D&D, it's your absolute lifeblood. Can't imagine your life without it. However, I think when you really love something, you really see its flaws and can be honest about it. Let's not idolize being infatuated with the game. Yep, exactly, right? Personally, for me, right now, like, of course, I wrote Vagabond, right? I do prefer a bit more of the OSR style of play because I tend to think that D&D really makes players try to play their character sheet and not play the game, if that makes sense. I think if I was trying to like say what game I would like to run that wasn't my own game, I mean, I've got this right here, right? If I hadn't written my own game and I wasn't writing content for my own game, well, I mean, it really is I'm writing content for my own game and Shadowdark, which, shit, we got a soundtrack to make. I still can't believe it. That's part of the reason, like, on top of everything else, I was like, I can't stream. I'm like too stoked about this. I was like, I can't say shit. Mythic Bastionland is out. I saw my digital downloads the other day. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but you owe. You homebrew stuff. Kingdom comes to your players. Don't feel that way at all. It's a lot of work, but I'm so familiar with it's second nature for you. I would love to run you a game of something that was a closer basic expert derivative. And just kind of like, just so you can sort of feel the change in philosophy there. I personally think OSR style play is just way more freeing for what you can do. And it's just, you're going to feel it's like not quite as rigid. But we'll talk about that sometime. Yeah. You played others by all means. Oh, okay. Sigil is now becoming a D&D Beyond feature. So they intend for it to run in browser? Or is D&D Beyond going to get its own proprietary app? Like an application you have to download and install. I mean, look, I am not the most tech savvy person that you're going to run into. Okay, there are plenty of people that are in this hobby who know a shitload more about how reasonable this could be. Okay, from what I've seen of Sigil, I don't think this could run in a browser. I even feel like I see Roll20 chug at times. And that's just basically PNGs on top of PNGs. If it was like its own dedicated proprietary software, that's one thing. One of the things, okay. One of the reasons they might be doing that is based off of what I kind of heard earlier, and that's that they've been having trouble getting it to run outside of the software they're building it in. Like outside of in the Unreal Engine tool, like software itself, right? Does that make sense? There's no way it runs in browser. Something that looks like Sigil, plays like Sigil, could run in browser. However, I have no idea how they'll manage to do the map building in browser. Oh, gotcha. Developing a standalone app means you can't use browser infrastructure. Running it in browser is an impossibility unless it's cloud synced. Well, I mean, I think that's the intent, right? Like, it is supposed to all be cloud synced to, like, probably someone's, like, master account. I'm wondering, how expensive is this going to be? Data's not cheap. Tailspire needs a dedicated app, and this is no Tailspire. No, yeah. But, like, also, I mean, the thing with that, Tailspire, I mean, I haven't really opened it in a while, so they might have updated it, but, like, the last time I had Tailspire open, it felt, like, kind of just devoid of much of anything. Foundry has its own app, and that's the 2D. Yes. Oh yeah. No. Well, but wait. No. You can run Foundry in a browser. You can run Foundry in a browser. You don't have to have the app itself, right? The thing that is mind-blowing to me is that we still have not received recommended system specs for this. Or no, wait. We did. We got system specs for this. Hang on. Yeah. No. Yeah. I remembered somebody actually said that we did in another Discord. Yeah, Bifey, can you send those to me on Discord? Everybody say thank you to Bifey for shooting this over. Alright, so NVIDIA GTX 960, AMD R9, okay, Intel, okay, I was curious about, wait, I don't remember if shopping is going to dox me. Alright, cool, we flipped that coin and I think we got heads. I don't see a graphics card in here that seems to be peaking over like $500. So like, but this is still, we're talking about a build that's going to require 8 gigabytes of RAM? Okay, so this is just the minimum. Okay, oh wait, here we go. DX12 GPU, all right. Yeah, that's minimum. Yeah, no, totally got, yeah. Here's the recommended. Solid state drive, everyone, oh look, if you haven't moved over to a solid state, you just need to immediately. This is like, if you've been running on a hard drive, the most noticeable change that you'll see in your load times for your PC is going to be if you switch over to a solid state. Yeah. At least 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's fairly low for the minimum, even recommended. That's way less than most video games. But here's the thing. I've still heard that they're having trouble running it on any computer. Like, outside of their developer environment. Like, this might be the stuff that's recommended. At least I heard as recently as yesterday from people who worked at Wizards of the Coast that they were having trouble running it outside of the developer environment. Again, like I said, word around the fire, right? That's all that is. That still leagues more than most VTTs, which only need potato computers to run. I mean, most of the game should just be in our imagination. Yes, I feel like this is the kind of thing where they're trying to upsell you on a luxury experience that not many people even fucking want. If I'm going to be real here. Some people might, you know, like, yeah, and sure, it'll be there for them. Do we think that that group is enough people to really sustain this kind of an investment? I don't see it. RPG gentrification? More for DMs, higher standards for players, more money too. Wait, RPG gentrification? Boy, someone with a sociology degree got in on RPGs, huh? I think we could just straight up say they're trying to upsell you on some luxury bullshit here. If they're trying to Matt Mercer effect you guys, right? Thinking like, hey, unless you're playing like this, you're not playing real D&D. Most people are just gonna go tell them to go fuck themselves. Like, it's who the fuck cares, right? To me, what's incredibly interesting is that Chris Cox even still has a fucking job at this point. I would think if you have a C-suite that is fucking around this hard, continuing to get your company in trouble time after time after time again, some shareholders would probably be a little bit pissed. We will maintain a small team to sustain Sigil. 3 people are what they kept. And release products already developed at no additional cost to users. To those moving on as a result of this decision, we will provide robust support, including severance packages, 2024 bonus, career placement services, and internal opportunities where possible. I want to take a moment to praise the entire Sigil team for their incredible work to deliver this product to our community. One of the things I'm most proud of here at D&D is our strong sense of purpose. We aim to honor our current players while ensuring D&D continues to build connections and bring joy to future generations. Alright, so cool. Rascal contacted Wizards of the Coast for comment, but did not receive a reply prior to publication. Collins confirmed to Rascal that Dan Rawson, Senior Vice President of Dungeons & Dragons Hasbro Direct, sent the internal message and led the in-person layoff announcement. So that's official. That is confirmed. Spoke with one of the affected workers, wished to remain anonymous. They confirmed the text of the internal message. They said that the Sigil team was notified Monday that all but 3 team members would be laid off. A manager facilitating the meeting claimed that the company may return to the project one day if enough interest was shown, but that it would currently exist as a perk for Master Tier subscribers to D&D Beyond. It wasn't like a release version that we saw. It was like, there is a thing that exists, here you go, try it out. That's BS, this thing is done. Oh, you mean like Sigil is like kaput, you mean? Or like the product is done, just get it out there. You're impressed they realized more before release that the 3D VTT was something that was going to flop. They seemed totally oblivious for ages that this was a niche product for a niche audience. Wizards of the Coast, or I guess Hasbro, really seems to think that a majority of this community is a bunch of whales that will throw money at fucking anything. In all reality, the people who are like that are like maybe 1 out of every 40 to 50 D&D players. I think if you have the guy who's like maybe a software engineer, making, you know, 70K plus a year, doesn't really have children, maybe he's got his own decent apartment, right? Maybe that's the kind of guy who would throw down the kind of cash to make this kind of a thing happen. We're also hitting a little bit worried about recession hitting. I guess in case they're not aware, houses are fucking unaffordable. Particularly in my generation. A lot of us millennials are kind of like, dude, I just want healthcare and a roof over my fucking head right now. What's this bullshit? Like, you know, to play devil's advocate for the project and for the devs, I was actually really impressed and thought it would succeed. I saw what they presented us. But the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of transparency around it always gave me a feeling of, I'm not expecting it to go anywhere. They wanted to dip into that Wormwood crew that almost no longer exists and drop coin on this and maintain everything on Sigil and pay their master tier full catalog on D&D Beyond. It would be dope as hell if it went to launch anywhere close to what they initially dropped. I'm not expecting this to really go anywhere. I think they're going to slowly just kind of try to quietly close the door on it. At least at this point, the only money that's been wasted was Hasbro's.
Somebody.
Fuck you, Ken.
I forgot that intro sound.
What's going on, man? Okay, you already know more about like software development. Well, at least about coding than I do. What are your thoughts, man?
I'm only just like catching up on this and like what all's going on today myself. I'm kind of busy. Like considering this is a newly launched thing, like the 3 people for maintenance, like that's not enough. It's obvious that they're chopping it or mothballing it or something. Like that's not enough to keep her going. Like 3 people isn't even enough to like deal with the server maintenance. Never mind actually like developing the product further and bug testing. Like,
is 33?
33 people?
Yeah. I mean that's apparently what the old team was.
That could be doable. Honestly, that could be doable. Depending on how much they were scaling it. If they had focused more on like the 2D environments and stuff, that's doable. Because I feel like they were going to scale back on the 3D once they realized that was like a nothing burger. Like people didn't actually want that.
That's my thing, man. Like if they were doing just like a 2D VTT, maybe it's the kind of thing that I'm like, I can get behind, right? But the deal is, I think that this is like further kind of like, is it endemic, symptomatic, whatever, of what D&D, particularly 5e, and what they kind of think it is. Whereas like I look at other games that still feel like they're more games, they're trying to sell you more of an experience on 5e in a way, where like this is supposed to be this incredibly cinematic and whatever thing where like you're basically directing a movie. And I can't help but feel like whenever I look at D&D's roots, I'm like, what happened to just playing a game though? Like I mean
that's the thing is I look at things like even like Tailspire or something like that. Like I've had people try to get me into like these 3D environment building stumps. I don't have the time for setting that type of stuff up these days. I just want to sit down. Maybe I've made like a cool little 2D map that took me like a half an hour to do. That's cool. That's fine. That's the most amount of like effort I'm willing to put in.
Yeah.
3D, like even if it's like pre-done like building blocks and models and stuff, that's no joke.
Wall setting in Foundry is the nightmare of all time. Oh. TF2 wait, are you talking Team Fortress or Tail Foundry? Or
I don't know what TF2 is other than Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, like, TF2 servers. Gotcha.
Oh yeah. See, I also look at like what the Wizards only has one card they could play that would have made people use their VTT, and that's the integration with D&D Beyond and folding everything in together. Because what could they do that every other VTT hasn't covered in some way? Like, and people have already sunk cost into them.
Wait,
like,
I thought Roll20 had D&D Beyond integration. Does it not?
It's half-assed. It does, but it's half-assed.
Ish.
Yeah, like Sean says, ish.
Okay,
but I feel like they would have scaled that the hell back if they had their own. Well, but like you got things like Alchemy is super pretty. You've got the sheer powerhouse that is Foundry. Roll20 has like extreme ease of access. Plus, all of those handle multiple systems. Yeah. So, like, what are you gonna get out of like this walled garden situation?
Well, and I just want to show people something real quick. One of my favorite like big perks to Alchemy is straight up that like, hey, if you're a game designer like me, you can build your own game over in Alchemy with like extremely little experience with it. Join game.
Yeah. As much as I love Foundry for running in it, I've made Foundry now look like Alchemy.
Yeah.
Building a new system in it is a literal nightmare.
This is
It's so
this
bad.
is so cake.
Yeah.
You know, I right now, like with Vagabond stuff, I have to pay developers to make stuff like this for me. You know, to do all the coding and whatever. For Alchemy, I can plug it in myself, and it's not hard. I think if you know Markdown, you know how to write in Alchemy. Whereas, like in Roll20, is Roll20 JavaScript or is it HTML CSS?
It's mostly just HTML and CSS. I think a little bit of Java. It's not as heavy on the needing of like the JavaScript and fancy coding that Foundry is. It's like much lighter than what Foundry needs. That extra step, unfortunately. If you want to make your own custom thing, there are custom system builders that are just literally drag and drop if you're willing to do that. Like they do have a setup for that, but it doesn't end up, it's not yours per se.
Yeah. How do you get this Alchemy version? I did support the Kickstarter thing. Alchemy is actually doing their own version of this to make sure the integration is all like flawless. This is a build that I was doing just to get the game running in Foundry and to kind of show the guys at Alchemy what I wanted. So this is like the general look of everything for Vagabond. It doesn't have all the rules or anything like that in here yet. So that's going to be Alchemy is doing their own internal dev on that. That will probably come out later this year. Well, I say probably. It is planned to come out later this year. I also really like Alchemy, not just as like, I think it's a good little kit. The problem I have with Alchemy is that it still doesn't do dungeon crawls. It still does not give you the map, Fog of War, all that stuff yet. I love so much of how Alchemy looks.
There's a few things holding it back.
Yeah. They need to nail that down.
If you want to go with looks, I've made Foundry look like Alchemy. Like
I think Foundry can look incredible.
Exactly.
What you have to learn, like what JSON coding? What the fuck do you have to learn in order to like code or build shit in Foundry?
JavaScript, HTML, CSS.
Is it JavaScript?
Yeah. It's all Foundry. It's Foundry and Alchemy are a lot more similar than you'd think. Just Alchemy just doesn't have half the toys.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just need to spend like a week with somebody who's like a Foundry expert, just like running me through the fucking paces. Like, hey, how do I like make a new character sheet for this system I'm making? Oh, and then actually run me through the code. But can you do
I know you've asked me several times, but I'm half-assed at it at best. So
there's been more than a few people in the community who were like, "Hey, Foundry conversion, what are we talking about?" And I can just do one for you, and I'm like, "Well, shit." Yeah, I've been meaning to actually take a look at it. Can you do tokens at all? I got a silly little relative positioning based combat system. I need to do massive tokens that can cross one screen. Yes, you can. It's still not great. I really like the idea, but yeah, you really want to like, but the 800 plus RAM that Alchemy consumes is just not, or is not for you. I never noticed Alchemy being that demanding.
Not compared to the others. I mean, Roll20, Foundry, and Alchemy are all pretty similar. I mean, they're just fancy websites. You go with the, like Albert Rodeo or something, then yeah, it's going to run on like a calculator. But the other ones,
Albert Rodeo run bad?
No, it'll run on like nothing. Like you'd run it on your like fridge interface if you had a fancy fridge. Probably it's like super light.
Alchemy does have some very basic 2D maps, like the level of unmodded Albert Rodeo. What it really is there for is setting a vibe for a scene and containing notes/description for the GM side. Yeah, like my favorite way to use Alchemy isn't for like dungeon crawlers. It's for games like Vaesen. Like, this is a scene-to-scene kind of a thing that we can transition with a creepy background piece, music, and all that stuff. It's primo at that. It is so cool for that kind of a dashboard. You're almost like, as a game master, you kind of feel like you're pulling the curtain on like this new scene. Really, really sick. But it is not good for dungeon crawlers. And I don't really know how anyone's really playing 5e on it, because it feels, unless they're doing complete theater of the mind, it just feels like the tactical maps aren't there yet, and they kind of haven't been there ever since they released it. But that all being said, I really like what Alchemy's doing, and I think that they're on the verge of something super dope. Although I will say, Roll20 getting the dungeon scroll integration was one of the best moves. Whoever planned that out at Roll20 absolutely deserves a fucking raise. That was so smart. Build your map in the same software in which you're playing in, and you can change it on the fly. It's
it's nice to see Roll20 finally catching up to like the other VTTs that already do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think like pretty much everyone's familiar with Dungeon Scroll, so Foundry can do that. I'm assuming.
Yeah, Foundry has like a couple different ways you can do it.
Unlike virtual tabletops such as Roll20, Albert Rodeo, or Foundry, Sigil offered a fully 3D environment with map building tools that would allow users to create and share interactive environments with their players. The first public playtest launched earlier this year and delivered a decidedly incomplete version of the promised dream of moving miniatures around a lushly decorated tavern while managing digital character sheets through a seamless integration with D&D Beyond. I already pulled up this article from Polygon. How long is the article? I don't know that I want to go through the whole thing here. If you expected to bring your tiny virtual paintbrush to Sigil, take a deep breath. This app isn't for you. Customization is worse for mini creation. Only 6 species of player characters, only 1 face for most of the species, and a surprising limit on custom colorization for the scant selections of weapons and armor. If you expected to bring your tiny virtual paintbrush to Sigil, take a deep breath. This app isn't for you.
But so you can't bring in your own tokens from like Hero Forge or something, because I think don't they allow that in Tailspire? Because
so there was a Hero Forge integration at one point with Tailspire, but that got removed.
Did it?
And I don't know for sure why. Maybe someone in chat can let me know. But Tailspire used to have an integration with Hero Forge.
The Hero Forge to Tailspire, there's actually a heroforge.tailspire.com, and it's like the instructions and everything you need to do for linking it and stuff. So it might still be a thing.
Heroforge.tailspire. I see. Not working. Oh, okay. This could have been a home run for Wizards of the Coast. This so easily could have been such a big home run. They already had this working in Tailspire. And like, if they would have just been like, hey, you know what, Hero Forge, you guys nailed it with the custom miniature thing. We can just integrate that directly over here. It left beta.
That means Wizards has to play nice with someone else.
That's very true.
They want to make their own thing. They don't want to play with someone else.
I forget they're just like incapable of doing that. It alpha tested a yearish. It's beta tested a week. There's no shot the release was supposed to be the final build. It left beta after a week in February and development stopped in December. Here's the deal. The employee told Rascal that the atmosphere surrounding work on Sigil had felt off and increasingly strained since last year, following a somewhat disastrous tech demo as part of a Gen Con 2024 performance that featured Abira, Iyengar. Abria? There we go.
Abria
Iyengar. I also just don't watch Critical Role. I don't know everybody's names, so like, yeah. Brendan Lee Mulligan, Anjali Vamani, and Baldur's Gate 3 actors Neil Newbin and Samantha Bart. That
one I don't know. I think it's Bert.
Hasbro president Chris Cox has become involved in the project for the first time soon after, and was reportedly not very supportive of continued development. Homeboy's carrying around that fucking sickle everywhere he goes, dude. Like,
yeah.
Dude. Hey, Hasbro. Fire this fuck. Alright? Y'all have got to get rid of Chris Cox. This guy has ruined your brand. This guy is ruining Dungeons and Dragons as a brand. I'm not sure what all he's doing with Magic the Gathering either, but like, every single time we keep hearing about some scandal going on with Wizards of the Coast, it keeps coming back to this stupid fuck right here.
This is not the Cox that you want. There's probably other Cox out there you can go for, but these are not the Cox for you.
There's all kinds of tits. You know, all right, yeah, we got it. Magic is not doing well. You guys just had the motorcycle one, right? Like, you got the motorcycle expansion. You're getting SpongeBob in your game. What do you mean it's not doing well?
just Fortnite now, essentially with TLDR.
I mean,
I've
look,
heard of these like weird ass cross. Is there seriously going to be a SpongeBob? I stopped with the overpriced cardboard a long time ago.
Yeah, they did a secret layer with SpongeBob.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I don't play Magic the Gathering. I watch some shit every once in a while. Whenever I see people freak the fuck out over pulling a Power 9, I'm always like, I'm happy for you. But I don't, yeah. They're fun reactions, Chris Cox is awful, but I say he made the right call in canning this. This is never going to justify the money they spent on it. Here's the deal. I agree with you. I do agree with you. And I still think that Chris Cox needs to go. Here's my thing. I don't think they ever should have started development on this. It wasn't necessary.